In today's video, we talk about what it takes to get shredded abs.
All by myself.
Hey guys, what's going on? This is Paul Ravella from ProPhysique.com. In today's video, I kind of want to address a comment, an email, and a couple questions I've gotten recently about the process of getting lean. And so this video will kind of be for a lot of people that watch my videos on a regular basis, a review, but I have a little bit of new information, and I think it would be a great topic for beginners, for those that are really kind of uncertain. And so when I talk about beginners, I mean the person that has started enjoying the gym or is interested in achieving a goal. And I think abs is kind of the pinnacle of fitness success. When we can see our abs, we know we're fit. And it's something that for many of us, it's not a problem. And for many others, it's a huge problem. But the idea of seeing your abs is a huge accomplishment, right? Because to visually see our abs, most of us need to be under 18% body fat for women, under 10% for men. So we're getting into some pretty elite places. So let's talk about what does it mean to have abs, because there are a lot of people that are 5-6% body fat that you can't see their abs at all. And this is another thing we want to discuss, right? So I want to discuss how we get there, doing it the right way, but then making sure that when we do get there, we have something to see. So I'm going to give a little bit of backstory about myself. I grew up early on playing sports, and I don't mean Little League baseball on Tuesday nights. I mean literally every single day I was either playing basketball, playing baseball, playing tennis. You could literally not keep me in the house. I was always outside doing sports. So when I got to the age where people were like, oh, so-and-so wants to get abs, I already had them. And I think it comes from the athletic background, right? I was always jumping and running and sprinting and changing directions. And so much of the musculature that is defined by our midsection that looks nice, a good set of abs, is something I developed through athletics, through sports. You see, I never cared about abs. I was a tall, skinny kid. I literally graduated high school at 155 pounds at my height of 6'2", 6'3", whatever I was. So, as you can imagine, I was not a large fella, but I was very athletic. I could dunk a basketball. I went on to play college baseball, so I was acceptable at like athletic events. I felt like a good athlete at that time. And that's kind of when I got into lifting. And I found that for me, abs was never a consideration. It was never something I worried about because they were always there. Even to the point where when I get overweight, I tend to still be able to see a little bit of ab definition if I hit the right lighting. But I want to talk about the other aspect of someone who's never had abs and the expectation that abs are made in the kitchen. Because the idea that abs are made in the kitchen, meaning diet, fat loss, following a nutrition plan that's set, is a bit misleading, because if you get really lean but you don't have the basis there for a hardcore, it's not going to be visible. So the most important thing is to have a balanced approach so that you reach your goal and you get excited about that. So let's talk about the basics of losing body fat for the purpose of getting lean enough to see abs. So this is an athletic endeavor. And whenever I'm talking about someone losing weight, this is not about obesity. This is not about something like that. This is about someone who's within range of seeing their abs and they want to get to that place. I always suggest we lose body fat at around 1% of your body weight per week. Meaning if you're a 200-pound guy, don't try to lose 10 pounds the first week and 5 pounds the next week and 5 pounds. Don't try to do that, because research has shown that if we do that, we negatively impact our performance, our muscle. So all of these things are very important for long-term success. You don't want to just lose all the body fat, get there, and then be a string, right? Like I was in high school. No, what we want to do is, as a 200-pound guy, we want to lose 2 pounds, 2 pounds, a pound and a half, a pound and a half. If we do this, we're more likely to lose pure body fat, right? And less lean body mass. We're enabling ourselves to continue to lose fat longer and maintain a better physique because we have a bit more lean body mass, which, as we know, is metabolically beneficial. So again, we're focused on being athletic. The other part of the equation is when you get really lean and you don't see what you want to see, what do you then do? I would suggest going into a building phase, but not a typical bulk, right? Because a typical bulk where you just start to consume mass amount of calories, train like an animal, and don't really pay attention, the waistline expands, right? Whenever we eat something, if we're past the point where we're growing taller, whenever we eat something, we have the potential to grow wider. And so bulking usually leads to growing wider. And so that's what we want to avoid, because you've worked really hard to get down to a decent body composition and you're just not seeing what you want to see. Spend 6 months in a phase where you're building, where you're training the core a couple days a week. My man Jeff Nipper just came out with an awesome video on the science of ab training, but it basically follows the same approach that I've been discussing for the last few years, and that's you want to train the abdominal wall in all directions. You also want to train the posterior, right? Meaning, like, we want to do some form of a crunch. I love decline sit-ups. I love hanging leg raises to train the lower, and then I also love doing cable pull downs, and I really feel that hits my entire abdominal wall, and I can feel, you know, the core muscles in my body, the rectus abdominis being the biggest one, developing, and I can feel them when I'm training, like getting better through training them several times a week. You know, I like to do about 2 times a week. Maybe deep into prep, I'll train them 3 times a week just for the added benefit of burning some extra calories. But I feel like 2 days a week is plenty when you're talking about the core, which also gets activated anytime you're doing a stabilizing exercise, anytime you're moving forward, back, side to side, you're using these core muscles. So we just want to focus on building some size. And then while you're doing that, while you're training the core, you're gradually adding in some calories. You're getting yourself back into a good place. You know, if you've been dieting for a long time, it can get kind of daunting to continue dieting if you're not seeing what you want to see. So if you give yourself that mental break and say, for the next 6 months, I'm going to focus on building, adding calories, getting stronger, building more muscle, putting more lean tissue inside my body through proper nutrition and training, then the next time we diet down, we're going to see improvement. And each time that we go through a fat loss phase, as long as we are responsible about it, as responsible about the reversing process or coming out of the fat loss process, I have always found that I got leaner easier. It only was harder at the end when I was getting into new territory or, like, you know, personal best leanness. That's always going to be a struggle. But I've always found that every time I diet, I can get back to my previous best a lot easier than I got there the previous time. So I think you'll find over a lifetime and over continually improving, you're going to see your abs better and better each time that you diet. And I've actually found other things that get me more excited than abs. You know, for me, the lower back is the biggest thing. So let's talk about how men typically lose body fat. So if you're a man, most men typically lose body fat first from the lower back, love handles, maybe the glutes, right? And so I remember the first time I ever did a contest prep where I was actually taking pictures, and I would look at myself every day in the mirror, and even though I had lost 10, 15 pounds, I would not see any visual difference. There was no change in my core, my abs, my chest, anything that was visual to me. But what was shocking was I was now taking pictures for my coach from the back, and my back just shrunk. My lower back, literally, for the first 15, 20 pounds of body fat I lost, all came from my lower back. My waist came in, my lats kind of came out a little bit. There was like the detail on the spine, the spinal erectors, things that I'd never seen before. But as bros, when you go in the lighting in the locker room and you look at yourself and you see the scales down 15 pounds and you don't see any changes, it can kind of bother you. So this is where things like pictures and documenting things from the backside can really matter, because I know for me, almost all of my body fat that's, you know, of substantial amount resides on my posterior chain, right? My butt and lower back get enormous. My abs kind of stick around longer than they probably should at higher body fat percentages. So, and I know some people would find that exciting, but I think whatever we don't have, we're more excited about. So, you know, when I see somebody that has, like, you know, split hamstrings and shredded glutes, but they have a little belly fat, I think that's awesome. Whereas, you know, some people would rather have, like, you know, detailed quads and abs like I kind of have year round. So that's really the truth of it, guys, is that you need to take your time, you need to have a plan, and you need to train the core in a manner that allows it to build some muscle. We can't just diet, starve ourselves to a low body fat percentage, not having built up any core through either training or being an athlete. I think if you look at something like the CrossFit Games and you look at those guys and girls, they have amazing cores, but I promise you, they're not sitting around going, oh, I need to have better abs. No, they're focused on their performance, and their performance is highly predicated on their diet and their training regimen. So they're literally just training like athletes, and as a result, getting that. So I think that's going to be the best approach for most people. It's not just do a bunch of cardio, diet down, and do some crunches. It's find a way that you enjoy it so that you can train like an athlete, and you get the benefits in the long run of it. I myself don't train as a CrossFit style, but I do love sports and I do love being active outside and doing things other than just going to the gym. I use the gym as my place to go in and work on adding muscle. And that does include training some core. That's going to be it for me today, guys. I hope you guys are having an awesome Tuesday. Got a lot going on. I've got some meetings. I'm really excited. I've got an announcement I'm about to make, but I got to wait like maybe another week. And I get to make a nice announcement for you guys. Project I've been working on, and it's going to be very cool. And well, I hope it's well received. But if you guys are enjoying these videos, I know you're going to enjoy it. So you guys have an awesome day, and I'll talk to you tomorrow.